Hello there, my name is Adam. I'm a 3D artist and illustrator, and today we're going to make a little fantasy witch hut. Um, we'll make an isometric view version, and for now, what I want you to do is go up here to Edit, Preferences, turn on Tab for Pie menu in the key mapping, Extra Shading Pie menu, go to Navigation. You can turn on Depth if you want to. Go to Input, turn Emulate 3-button mouse on, go to Add-on, and search extra and do add mesh extra objects. Then do loop and turn on mesh loop tools. Once you've done that, just go here and just save preferences. Close everything. And now do Shift A, image, reference. Make sure align to view is activated. And let's just import this one. Load reference. Rotate this in the x-axis, 90. G, X. Scale it down. And there you go. We're basically going to be making this. Also, don't worry, we're not using art from anyone. This is entirely AI generated. So, the first thing we have to do, let's select this, edit, do face selection, select these faces here, X, and do faces. And we'll be left with something like this. Obviously, if you want to, you can delete this side. So, for now, we're going to leave it like that. Delete this. Actually, no, let's leave it like that. And we can get started by making the fireplace as a main beacon as to where everything goes. So, let's just do Shift A, Mesh, and do a round cube. Let's edit it to have a radius of 1. There you go. Once we do that, we can modify it to be somewhat like this. Before we do anything though, let's scale it down. Let's click on this, add a modifier, do a bevel modifier, add another modifier. Let's do a solidify modifier. And let's give it a thickness of 0.05. Let's do 9, just in case. Let's see how that looks. That's pretty thick. Make sure you click on even thickness. There we go. And we can decrease it a little. Let's do a 7. And let's decrease the bevel modifier to 0.0. There we go. And we get something that looks like this. Right now it's having some little graphical issues, but mainly because this is not actually solid. You can make it solid if you want to. So we can just apply this. And there you go. It should look something like that. We can reduce this to 0.01. I don't like how 0.02 looks. Good. And the main reason why we do that is so that it's visible like this and this from the side. One thing I will do is maybe delete this side as soon as I can. But for now, I'll leave it. The main reason why I have it like this is so, we have walls to where we can put this window and to where we can apply all the other objects. For now, let's continue working on this center bit. So, let's do 1 on the numpad, G, move it to like about here, scale it up, and let's just shape it into what it's supposed to look like. First of all, let's make this transparent. So let's go to image and do opacity and reduce it to like about there. As for this one, we can turn on X-ray and then do edit, then do vertice selection, and that should be pretty much it. Go back into this view. And now all we have to do is modify it to fit the shape of this. First is first. Let's just move these around like this. you're having a few issues, you can always select them like this. Scale them in the x-axis, GZ. Scale them in the x-axis to about there. And that should be kind of the general shape, but we need to modify it to fit a little bit more here on the bottom. Right here, move these up to about here to accommodate for the legs. Let's just select these two and adjust them to scale them in the x-axis. There we go. And it should look something like this from the side. Obviously, we can do the side views as well. A good way to do that, we can just flatten all this. Let's just turn off X-ray temporarily. Let's select this, press O, then just do G, scale it down, constrain it to the Y-axis, scale it up a little bit, and put it to like about there. Same with the back side. Perfect. And that's mainly just to flatten out if you move this up a little bit. Same with this. Perfect. And that should help with the shape in general. Let's do GX, move it to the side. And we're going to add this little bit separately because we're going to make it a copper color. So we can put that at the top. But for now, we're going to basically flatten this top part. So let's just do one X-ray, select all of this, do scale Z0. And that should flatten the top quite well. There you go. Let's just do edit now. And vertex selection, select these. And scale them in. Make sure to press O. And there we get like a little circle at the top now. It should look something like that. Now obviously we still have to add this hole inside of it. That should be pretty simple. All we have to do is edit. Face selection. And select the faces that we need to remove. The ones that we need to remove are these. Let's do X, faces, and there you go. We get the front bit pretty much done. And now we have to give it that nice, like, curved shape to it. So, let's do edit, vertice selection, select these, do GZ, kind of like that. Select the GZ, move them up a little, and we get these side bits. We can leave it as is, or just scale these GY, because it looked a little bit too pressed. And once we have something that looks kind of like this, we can right click first and do shade smooth. Second, we can add a modifier. First, let's add a solidify modifier. Let's do 0.06, see how that looks. Let's make sure to fix the normals here. Let's go to normals, fix them like that so we can get the actual thickness. That looks about right. We can always make it a little bit more thicker. Let's add another modifier. And let's do a subdivision surface modifier. There you go. Once we've applied that, let's do edit. And select these vertices here. GZ. You can also do Control R to add another loop here. GZ. Mainly to curve it a little bit more. Select these. GZ. And if you want to sharpen this, just do Control R and sharpen it kind of like this. There you go. It should look something like that. We can move these up a little bit. GZ. Since we're just trying to curve it. GZ. Perfect. And it should look something like that. We can make it a little thicker if you want. Like for example, here we can make it 0.08. There we go. And we can click on apply. It should look something like that. Obviously the edge isn't very defined, so we can just do edit, do Control R on these sides here, and we add a loop here, Control R, and we add a teensy little loop right about there. And it should add like an edge to it. Makes it look interesting. If you're curious about like these like markings here, you can leave it. It actually adds a little bit of detail. I like it. So I'm just going to leave it as is. Alright, and we get the general shape of the fireplace. Obviously we still need to add these. at the bottom, but those are really easy to add. All we'd have to do is just do Shift A, Mesh, and let's just grab something like a cube, scale it down, somewhere around here, scale it down a little bit more, G. Let's add a modifier to this, or actually no, let's just do control, or let's do face selection first. Select the top face, the bottom face, X, delete those faces, do control R, scroll up, add lines there, add somewhere around 4, I guess. Yeah, that's a good number. You can do the same on the other sides. 4, and control R. Perfect. Vertice selection, if you want. For now, though, we're just going to do 1. We're going to scale it up, and they'd have to start somewhere around. Perfect. Try to match it to the edge as best as possible. That looks good. Now let's go into X-ray, edit, and just modify these to the shape that we want. For example, these ones, do GZ, move it up about here, I guess. We can select these, GZ, and we can start making that little arch. If anything, I'm going to scale this in the X-axis. Let me scale these there. Let me just do Control R one more time. Another one on this side as well. Vertice selection. And let's just select these, G, Z, and start moving them up to like right there. Try to make an arch, G, almost like this. And that should look good in the front way. We can do GZ, move it up a little to about there. And both sides should have a nice arch now. As for the sides, we just have to do 7. Let's just get out of edit mode. G, Y. Scale this in the Y-axis. Right about there. Let's do edit. And just try to get it to like the shape of this here. So staying in this mode, let's just do Y. Move it to like about here. Select these. Y. Just keep getting it to the shape of the little pot here. And we should basically do everything like that. And it should fit eventually. There we go. It should match it somewhat like that. Let's get out of edit mode. Turn off X-ray temporarily to see how that looks. Good. That looks pretty nice. Now all we have to do is match this bottom one. So let's just do 1. Let's turn on X-ray again. Let's just select these. And let me turn on O, G, and constrain it to the X-axis. And let's just move it in like this. Select these, G, X, move it in like this. There you go. It should just like angle in a little bit, but not too much. Turn off X-ray, go into edit mode, or turn off edit mode rather. Right click, shade smooth, fix the normals. And we do the same thing we did to this top part where we add a solidify modifier. Subdivision surface. And for the solidify, we do 0.07. Let's reduce it a little because it's a little bit too thick there. Let's do 4. Actually, no, it is that thick. Let's do 6 instead. That looks like a correct thickness. If we look at the original, it is quite thick on the bottom. Let's make it a little bit thicker. Let's do 7 again, because 7 just looked right. Click on apply. And now we do edit, Control R on these